Well, today I'm making walking sticks, or at least I'm going to try. I know this isn't probably the right way to do it, but I don't care. The goal is to get it down to a certain dimension, and I'm going to sand it up a bit. And then I'm going to treat it with some mineral oil so that it doesn't mold. And let it dry out a bit more. I thought this was a little drier than it was, but that's alright. Such is life. Anyway, I just thought this would be fun to do. See how it goes. I got one with a curve because I felt like it added a little more character to it. Oh, it's definitely cherry wood. You can smell it. Every time I scratch it, it smells like well, it smells like cherries. I don't know. You ever had cherry dessert? You know, it kind of smells like that. Now the outside of cherry, typically the center is where it's red, but just below the bark it's usually kind of yellowed. Cherry needs a fair amount of time. Now this is sweet cherry. This isn't like black cherry, which is usually huge with the color. Sweet cherry is a lot more subtle with this red, and if you really want it to get red, you kind of gotta, when it's wet, it's quite bright. But so a mineral oil will make it seem more red. Exposing it to air will make it a little more red, but sweet cherry isn't like a deep color. But anyway, so if you feel like it, you can just watch me do this. There's only like 6 types of cherry that people typically work with. The most common ones are, well, sweet cherry, because if someone's done with an orchard, sweet cherry done, right? And black cherry is the most sought after, I would say. And some of the other cherries aren't even local, like not, well, I mean, I shouldn't say they're not local, but they don't really have them up here. Some of them are in more tropical climates, I believe. I could be wrong. I love to be proven wrong, so if that's not true, don't let me misinform you. But from what I understand, up around these parts, typically you get sweet cherry or black cherry. That's the North American standard. A lot of people see this sweet cherry and they're like, that's not cherry, it's not red at all. It's like, well, you're wrong, but that's okay. I understand. A lot of people see black cherry and that's the standard to them, is that deep red, crazy color. Like, God, that's looking good. Now I want my hand to be able to get all the way around it. I should be able to like almost feel my fingers on the other side. Otherwise it's not a comfortable walking stick. You should almost feel like you can kind of pick it up and swing it if you had to. Granted, it has to be a lot wider than a cane. Like, canes are usually quite thin. But I like a walking stick to have some chunky to it. Anytime I go walking in the woods, and it's kind of a tradition of mine, I gotta pick up a stick and be like, this is the walking stick I'm gonna use. I like it to be solid and thick. I don't like little wispy ones, but to each their own. Oh, this kills the arm. Should have a draw blade, to be honest, but if I had a draw blade, then I'd need a vise or of some sort to hold the wood while I scuff it. Kind of going to work on the top a little bit. Kind of going to get that base too. I'm just sitting on my. I remember a while ago, oh my god, I'm gonna drop the phone here. A while ago, I made these benches, and Buddy was like, "Oh, they're terrible. They're gonna fall apart. They're crap." Currently, I've had parties and everything, and this is my chair that I made. Big old long back on it. Sorry, twisting you guys all around and stuff. And that's the other one. They have held up. There's no flex. There's nothing wrong with them. Some people like to complain, just to complain. One thing I've discovered doing any kind of videos and putting myself out there online is you're going to meet a lot of people that are just itching to tell you everything you're doing is wrong. And it's funny how you get over that real quick. Because you know what, I'm happy and I'm just chilling. Like, I know this isn't the right way to do this, but here's the thing, I'm doing it. I ain't just stomping on other people for doing it, and I'm having fun. This is stuff that I always wanted to do, but you know, you live a life where people are like, you have to be perfect to start doing anything. I know, like, no one's allowed to be bad at something anymore and learn. I'm sure I'll learn as I go, better ways to do everything. But even when it comes to, like, well, let's be honest, my YouTube channel, I am so far from a showman or a professional of any sort. So the fact that anyone's watching me is kind of hilariously awesome. I'm glad there's people out there that are so nice and very supportive, because I'm not good at it. I don't have an editing team. I don't think I ever will. I like just hanging out and being honest and real. This is my idea of fun. I don't want it to be staged. I mean, too much. You like to get a good shot. Don't get me wrong. I like going in the woods when it's snowing and taking a video or something like that, because it's not really staged, but it feels like a stage. It's neat. This is really cool. Nature does a good job at making things pretty. I don't really have to work too hard at making things presentable. All right, looking pretty good. I know my face is out of this, but to be honest, I don't think anyone really wants to see that anyway. This is more about the creation of the stick. Less about me, more about what I'm up to today. Now, I want to be careful up top here, because I want it to have kind of like a pommel on the top. I want it to, like, I want to hold here. Like if you were walking somewhere, you kind of hold it here, and I want this to be kind of rounded and feel like a natural handhold right there. As you see, I got to get quite a bit more scun off because it doesn't feel right in the hand, but at some point it will. I'll just keep working on it, but I don't want to take too much off the top. That's where I'm going with that comment. I want to be careful, but I got to get a lot more off. And the other thing is just wood chips. This would be perfect for the garden beds. All my waste, I find nothing gets thrown out these days. Everything goes pretty much into the gardens. Well, I mean, except for like plastics, but I don't use a lot of plastics. I don't use like water bottles. I don't buy candies that are individually wrapped. I try my best to avoid plastics. Not because I think there's anything wrong with them. Like, obviously, plastics have surged us forward in terms of food storage and the quality of life in general. But I think there's a point where too much plastic is bad. So I try to reuse metals, woods, stuff like that. Most of my food containers are wooden or paper. And that's not to say constantly making paper products is any better for the environment. But at the end of the day, a paper product is not quite going to be left in the water or in a ditch, and microplastics being left all over the... Anyway, just personal preference. And I could be wrong. Maybe that's not the answer. I don't tell anyone what they should do. All I know is what I'm doing. In the end, not a lot of plastic makes it into my waste, so I get a lot of organic stuff, a lot of easily biodegradable materials, and it all makes its way right back into the garden beds, which is kind of nice. It's almost like I have no waste. I know I get a lot of people that oh my wood chip. I get a lot of people that tell me, oh, they'll take my compost off my hands for free. I was like, I had to tell you this, but it's actually worth more to me as compost, so I'd rather you buy it even if it's compost. Compost is very valuable. I mean, if you're gardening. I mean, if you're not, then, well, it's not. Now, let's see. Can I be delicate with this? Yeah. Oh my goodness, this arm is like defeated. Apparently I'm only going to do one walking stick today. There we go. Not quite. Maybe a smaller tool. This is like a cannon to take out a mosquito. Something more precise. Probably do a better job. I think I have a carving knife somewhere. But no, that's okay. I'll do what I can with this. Take off that stick. All right. I'm going to switch this way. See if I can't finesse this clean. I just want to get the bark off for the most part, and that like pulp that's right underneath the bark. I want to get right down to wood. That's the goal. And for the record, never cut towards yourself. Don't do as I am doing. It's a mistake. It's always a mistake. The amount of times I have cut myself cutting towards myself, even like sharpening chainsaws, all that stuff, my hands have so many cuts on them. I don't know what I have more of, calluses or cuts, but my hands split every day, and if they don't split, I typically cut them. And it's not a good way to treat yourself. But I was raised as one of those, well, I should be clear. I wasn't raised by anyone other than myself. I definitely taught myself that I just got to get stuff done, and sometimes how you get there is by risking yourself, and I don't think that's a healthy attitude to have, but it is the way I am, and I know I should change some of those habits. But sometimes I just got to get something done. Like, it just has to be done, I know it's not the most efficient way to do it, but at the time, something must be done, so I just do it. And I don't know how to describe it any more than that. Sometimes I just do the thing, even though it's not the best way to do it. But at the end of the day, the thing gets done. And I like success over... success over efficiency. Efficiency is nice when you can do it. But getting it done right, I should be clear. Getting it done right is more important than how I got there. And that can be dangerous. That can be very, very dangerous. Like, this is not how you use a knife. But is it working? Yep. So please, do not do as I do. Now, that being said, if you don't care if you get a cut or two, maybe you're used to it. I'm a bit used to pain. In general, except for little things. It's kind of funny. I'm used to pain. Like, I could probably take a hit. Like, I've had my foot driven over by a forklift. I've had, like, pretty bad falls. I've had a lot of surgeries. I've even fractured my discs in my back. I don't mean I pulled my back. I mean I ruptured 2 discs in my back. And I remember laying on my bed for the better part of 2 months in the fetal position, crying myself to sleep. It hurt so bad. So pain, to me, is an old acquaintance. Not a friend, an acquaintance. So, that being said, if I see a bee, I freak out. Like, I don't like bee stings. I'm used to pain, but, oh God, a bee! Don't let it sting me! I find that absolutely hilarious. It's like needles. I don't like knowing that needles are coming. I give blood when I can, which hasn't... I gotta give blood again. I really should. O negative, so it's probably in my best interest to try my best to donate. But even that big, thick needle is like... Everyone's like, oh, you're a big, tough man. You'll be alright. And I get white coat. I'm just... But then, that anticipation of being hurt, oh God, no. But if you need me to work 3 stories up and I'm on rickety staging and there's no balance, I'll be like, yeah, I'll go up. I remember the old place I used to work. Sometimes you had to get up high to get a job done. And the only way up there was someone lifting you literally on forks on a forklift. Yeah, I did that. Not 2 stories up. The maximum elevation, which is 8 feet. That forklift had 8 feet 3 times, so 24 feet. I used to max that out. Or at least someone driving used to max that out with me on the forks. And I'd be changing halogen light bulbs in a cooler. No fear of that, But a bee sting. Bee sting. By God, aren't I scared of a bee stinging me? Even mosquitoes. I can't even watch mosquitoes bite me. It just gives me a... So my fear response to pain is strange. I can take a beating, but certain things give me the heebie-jeebies. My lizard brain really kicks in. And it's like, nope, you're scared of this. Get away from it. Yeah. Alright, that's kind of got that cleaned up. I think the best bet now is to let this dry. There's still some more pulp on here that needs to... You can see the stuff that comes up easy is like a membrane. And then when you feel it stop, like that's wood. But this, that's membrane. That's wood. That's that stuff in between the bark and the wood. I'm no, what would you call it? Botanist? Well, that or an arborist. Like, I don't know the things about trees that I ought to know about trees, given how much I work with trees. But whatever that stuff is called, you can see it's discolored compared to the rest. And that's the stuff I want off, because it holds in moisture. Do not want moisture. Again, you see me cutting towards myself. Do not cut towards yourself ever. Anyway. Oh yeah. Nice. Alright. I think I'm going to let that dry. And then I'll let that dry, and then I'll sand it down a bit more. Oh, just in time for a visitor. Hello, Rowley. Come here. No? You going underneath? So this isn't management cat. This is Rowley cat. And they all like the greenhouse because the ground is frozen. So it means they get to poop on the floor. Because it's not frozen. It's great. Anyway, thanks for watching if you watched. And I'll let you know how the walking stick turns out.